All right. So today I'm going to walk through an end-to-end guide that takes users from creating data from scratch all the way to fine-tuning an LLM model on Amazon Bedrock. So that being said, let's get right into it. So as a user with at least a team admin role in SuperAnnotate, when you accept the invitation link to join the platform, you will land at a page like this by default or by creating it. And from here, you can actually create a new LLM project, which I will do, and title AWS Bedrock Demo. From here, you're going to come to a page where you can select from popular templates for project types such as model comparison, chat rating, and such. But for the sake of this demo, I'm just going to build a form from scratch. On this page, your goal is to create a custom user interface that annotators for your project will see. Right, so on the left side here, you have building blocks and you have the UI form in the middle. The building blocks on the left build a user interface that the annotators, QAs, and whoever else in this project workflow will see, right? So for instance, you can make it such that the annotators will see some kind of external components, such as some PDFs maybe, or some URLs, and to build their item off of, maybe let's just say a text area to write a description or something about these external sources, right? But you might also have something more QA specific. So maybe a QA will go into the item after an annotator has done their job to rate the annotator's work, maybe by voting or by rating by stars. But for the sake of our project, we're going to just be creating question and answer style data points to fine tune an LLM such that it refuses to answer questions that require any mathematical computations. Therefore, I'm going to create a text component here just for question, and I'm going to call question area, and you will see it as question. And following that, you're going to have the answer area, which I'll call answer. So after that's done, in the next page, you will be able to define any interactions within components as well as custom functionalities like sending webhooks. But for this case, because it's simple, I'm just going to publish the form. And here I can give item names and how many of these items I want to make by default. So I'm creating 128, but users can create as little or as many as they want to fine tune the model on. And so I'm just going to publish and create this. All right. So at this point, I'm going to go over into the setups tab, and you can invite others to start annotating these items, right? So in contributors tab, after you've already added them to the team, you can start sharing this project with some of these annotators, QAs, and such. And also, what I would also recommend doing is going into the general tab to determine how the annotators will be able to request these items. So right now, they're going to request by category, but since I don't have categories, I'm just going to make sure that they can automatically get assigned a batch size of 3 new items every time they request something, right? We could always change this batch size as well. All right. So going back to projects, after these annotations are completed, I already have a completed project here with all the data points. I can actually go over to maybe look over some of these items in the Explore tab. So I'm going to click this Explore tab on the left here and check that the items look right. And over here, I'm able to actually select the components that exist in my project. Over here, specifically, we have question area and answer area. And I just want to make sure that the data looks, for the most part, right. So when it's asking something like, what is the function of the heart? I can see that my answer says something like, oh, the heart pumps blood throughout your body, delivering oxygen and nutrients, yada, yada, yada. But when it comes to something that is mathematically, requires some kind of mathematical computations, it should reject it, right? So compute the first product of the first 5 prime numbers, but the answer is, sorry, I cannot perform such multiplications. So from a bird's eye view, I can tell that this is working as we expect. So after we verify the data set, we can now go into creating an automated pipeline that will format and store the data points we just created on S3 for Bedrock fine-tuning, and then 2, even from our own platform, trigger a fine-tuning job as well. So I'm going to go over to the Orchestrate tab on the left here. And before creating any pipeline, I'm going to go over into the Actions tab on the upper right here, and then the Secrets tab right here. So in order for our pipeline to work, obviously, if you're going to use S3 and such, you need to specify several secret keys and values. And these will contain the sensitive information that you wouldn't necessarily want within a publicly facing or, more available actions in our Orchestrate, right? So if I look into it, we can see several things, like the AWS access key ID, secret access key. I can have them here. I also have to specify things like, what foundational model on Bedrock am I going to work on? Where is the bucket location I'm going to load and pull from? And for some buckets, you might need an external ID to make sure that we can access these. And on top of that, other parameters such as region name, roles, and SA token, which is our own SDK token that you can see in your team setup tab. One thing that is optional here is going to be the Bedrock role ARN. If you already have one, we can use what you already just import from here. But if you don't, we can help you create one as well within the action. Okay, so let's go over into the actions itself then. All right, so I'm going to create new action here. And if I create a new action, these are going to be what will trigger from our pipelines once some event occurs, right? So I'm going to be prompted, if I create an action, to either create from scratch or use an existing template, right? In this case, we will use the 2 Bedrock templates that are available. First, you're going to create an action to upload the data to S3, and then the action to fine-tune the model that you want. To show an example, if I click one of these actions, I'm directed to an action that does exactly what I described, uploading the Bedrock format data to S3. And if I just look over it, you can see that it's written as a containerized Python script with the necessary packages and the Python version on the left here. And just going over very, very quickly, I'm formatting the annotations on our platform into the Bedrock format. And then afterwards, I call S3 with Boto3, and then I format combine JSONs that I've created into a JSON file that it can use. All right, so I'm going to get out of this screen. So once you created those actions, and I've already gone ahead and created these actions, I'm going to go over into the Pipelines tab here, and then I'm going to create a new pipeline. So our Orchestrate pipelines, like I stated previously, it's built around events that trigger actions, right? So in our case, I'm going to say that when our project is updated from any status to fully complete status, for specifically our demo project, I am going to trigger an action that first uploads the Bedrock format data to S3, and then fine-tune the model. Along with that, for these actions, I'm going to attach my secret that I've created so that it can pull from the secrets for the parts that it needs. And I can just name the pipeline as something like Bedrock fine-tuning. Cool. All I have to do now is go over into the Projects tab. Right now, it's in progress, but if I switch it to completed, the action should kick off in our Orchestrate pipelines. And if I go over into the tab where I click there, I can actually see the progress of the action that was just triggered. Over here, we can see that, for instance, the upload action from that pipeline is successful, and so is the fine-tuning Bedrock model. And if you actually click into any of these actions, you can also verify the input, output, as well as the input output for any of the other actions as well. All right, now that we know that this is done, I'm going to go over into AWS Bedrock, see what's going on, right? So this is the Bedrock page that you can see right in front of you. And if I click on the left here, under foundational models, I have custom models. And if I go over into jobs, I can see that I have 2 jobs training right now because I kick off the Orchestrate for both of those pipelines that I've created. But once it trains, it'll actually move on over into the models where you have now a customized model. And let's say you want to deploy this so that you can start invoking the endpoint, maybe just like verifying, validating that it's working. You can click on the model that you want, press purchase provision throughput, as this is a way to actually deploy any customized models. And in this page, you'll be able to enter the name, which model you want to deploy, as well as like the commitment term, right? So if I do like no commitment, you'll get a pricing structure, and then you can purchase the provision throughput.